Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to Sabbath worship. I am, for those who may not know me, Rabbi Myra Soifer, pronouns she, her, and hers. I am privileged to be the Emerita Rabbi of Temple Sinai here in Reno, Nevada, which we acknowledge is sitting upon the lands of the Shoshone, Paiute, and Washoe peoples. I am tonight, of course, not the Rabbi's Zober. I am standing in for them. Many of you know that Rabbi Benjamin Zober had a bike accident about 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago now. He is recovering, but he is still healing. So he is at home. And Rabbi Sarah, of course, is taking care of him, doing double duty as rabbi and probably double duty as parent, and taking good care of Rabbi Benjamin. And so they are both at home on this Shabbat. And it's not a pleasure because I'm sorry about Ben, but it is my privilege to be standing in for them tonight. And I use those words carefully, standing in. Some of you may know that I had knee surgery about 2 months ago, and I am healing and doing all that miserable PT stuff. But this is my first time really standing for any length of time. So we will see how that goes. I have a chair beside me just in case. If I need to sit down, I will ask your understanding, and we will just do it as we do it. I want to thank Michael Gorden, who is not only the president of our synagogue and all the work that entails, but he is our tech person too, and is running the camera or the digital or whatever that is tonight. I welcome everyone, wherever you may be, near and far. The joy of Zoom is that we can have you from all kinds of locations. I remind you that we use Mishkan Tefillah, and I will give page numbers for that. There also is a digital Siddur, and I imagine there's a banner running in front of me right now telling you where you can download that digital Siddur. And of course, if you simply choose to listen along, pray with the words of your own heart and soul, all of that is good. We are just glad that you are with us. And so, as we begin, let's take I don't know about you, but the week's been a bit hectic, so maybe take a deep breath. Breathe out all the busyness of the week. Breathe in Shabbat, and let's center ourselves by beginning with a nigun, a wordless melody. Without the words, there is some sense that maybe it's easier to make a direct connection with the divine. Yalla la la la, 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 yalla. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la. And as we prepare to welcome Shabbat with light, with our candles, let's turn to page 3. And if you would join me reading the candle lighting reading at the top of page 3. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. I got Gordon's here with me. Anybody want to join me for the candle lighting? All right, we have a bunch of different ways to make these matches work. I know they didn't want to work for your bar mitzvah. We thought maybe this is a new thing. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe.
You give it a try?
Yeah.
If not, we got this guy. Plus, my matches are ornery. Wow, good job. See, all it takes is the right striker. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner Shel Shabbat. Thank you. Good job. Let's turn to page 10. More song. Hinei ma tov, how good it is when we can dwell together. We're not quite there, but Michael tells me maybe soon. Maybe soon we will literally be back together. So it is good that we can at least Zoom together. Psalm 13. Hinei ma tov u'manaim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manaim, shevet achyot gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov, ya la 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 la. Hinei ma tov u'manaim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manaim, shevet achyot gam yachad. And if you'll turn back to page 8, please join with me in that reading there. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And we welcome Shabbat with all kinds of singing, but particularly the singing of Psalms. So I would ask you to turn in your prayer books to page 344, and we will sing a bit of Psalm 96, Shir Chadash. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Let's do that again. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Sing unto God, all the earth, a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God, and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash. Let's turn back to page 20. You all sounded so good. We're going to sing some more. We will welcome the Sabbath Queen, the Sabbath Bride, into the sanctuary, invite her to join us in person or by Zoom. And of course, it is our habit. We do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And at verse 9, and I have to say, with my knee, I've become acutely aware. When we ask people to rise, for some of us that's comfortable. For some of that physically, it's not comfortable. But there's all kinds of rising. One can rise in spirit as well as in body. So when we talk about rising, certainly with my new awareness of what it's like to stand up, it is my meaning that if it's for you to rise in spirit, rise in spirit. If it's for you to rise in body, whatever. We can rise in so many ways. And we will do that before verse 9 when we invite the Shabbos Queen to join us. So 1, 2, 5, and 9. Yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da yada da yada da yada da yada da da yada da yada da 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 yada da 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 yada da yada da yada da yada da yada da yada da lechadodi likrat kala yada da yada da yada da ne Shabbat nikabla yada lechadodi likrat kala yada yada ne Shabbat nikabla yada shamor v'zachur v'dibor echad Hishme'anu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shemo tiferet v'litihila L'chadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Likrat Shabbat lechuvenecha Ki hi mekor haberacha Merosh mikedem nisucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Hitoreri Ki va'oreh kumi ori Uri shir daberi Kevod Adonai alayich nigla Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla in body or in spirit. We rise to welcome the Shabbat Queen. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala Gam b'simcha u'b'tzahala Toch emuneh am segula Boi chala Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla yada Lechadodi likrat kala yada Pnei Shabbat nikabla. If your rising was in body, you can please be seated as we turn to page 26 for the Chetzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash meraba Ba'alma divara chidute v'yamlich machute B'chayechon v'yomechon Uv'chayedecho bet Yisrael Ba'agala Uv'izmahan karib V'imeru amen Yehesh meraba mevarach Le'alam ul'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach Vitpa'a vitromam vitnase, vitada, vitale, vitalal, shemeda kudasha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shihirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amihiran be'alma, ve'imeru, amen. We turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. And again, in whatever manner rising is for you, we rise for the Baruch Hu. Again, we are on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMivorach. Baruch Adonai HaMivorach le'olam va'ed. And if you are standing, you may be seated. On page 30, in the middle of the page, let's read the English together. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And on page 32, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbenu, uvkumenu nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla noge yomam v'layla ve'ahavatecha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 34 and the Shema. And if it is your custom to stand, please feel free to do so. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Olam Vaed. And if you are standing, be seated. As we turn the page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'aderech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshatam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam Al mezuzahot beitecha uvihisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ahani Adonai Elohechem asher chotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem emet. Let's turn to page 39. At the top of the page, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, and that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. On the next page, page 40, the Michamocha. Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha neder b'kodesh Nora tehilot osefele Nora tehilot osefele Malchutecha ra'uvanecha Bokei yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Za'eli anu ve'ameru Za'eli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. And let's turn to page 43 at the top and read together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu va'al kol amo Yisrael va'al Yerushalayim. And we turn now to page, where am I going? Page 44, just turn the page. And at the bottom, the Yism'Zoom, those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that hallow Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For being pleased with the seventh day, you hallowed it as the most precious of days, drawing our attention to the work of creation. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Mekadesheh Mekadesh Shvi Shabbat kulam yisbu v'yitangu mituvecha Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat v'hashvi'i ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat chemdat yamim oto karata Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat Yismechu v'malechutecha Shomere 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 Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat Zecher למעשה בראשית שבת זכר למעשה בראשית שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת ישמחו במלכותך שומרי 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 שבת וקורא עונג שבת. Let's turn to page 46. And again, either in body or spirit or whatever way, we rise for the Amidah, the Tefillah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim v'koneh hakol v'zocher chasdei avot v'imachot umevi geula livnei b'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava melech ozer u'moshia u'magen baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah. Next page, 50. Atagi bor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, mashiv haruach umorid hagah Hashem, mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, sohomech noflim berofech oholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishene afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umidom melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol baruch ata Adonai Mechaye hakol. And at the top of page 53, if you'll read with me, days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, listen to this line, you're going to hear it later, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh, blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God. And let's take time for silent prayer. If you choose, in the prayer book, there are pages between now and page 62 where we will resume. And if you choose other prayers or simply the words of your own hearts and souls, that is all good. We pause. '62. Ratzon imre fi v'hegion libi lefanecha Adonai Tzuri v'gali Adonai Tzuri v'gali. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, Adonai, our rock and our redeemer. And together we say, Amen. Let's turn to page 245, where we turn to our Torah service, and we'll take the Torah out of the ark. Anybody want to come help me? Thanks.
Job again.
Well, that's why you're the older, responsible child. All right, we're going to take out the little guy. Okay? Sure. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai your God. And if you will come on over here, we'll do this. Perfect. Good job. And let's get the doors, baby. Thank you, Mr. Nathan. Very much. If you were up, please be seated. Okay. So let's turn in our prayer books to, I don't know, where did I put it? Okay, our blessing for the for reading of Torah. What page is it on? I lost my pages. On page 86 in your prayer books. And by now we should all know it, I suspect. And join me, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We give thanks to God for the privilege and indeed the obligation, the mitzvah, to study, to hear the words of Torah. And I am reading tonight from Genesis chapter 28, verses 10 through 16. Some of you have that in front of you in the virtual Siddur, and if you don't, not to worry. I'll go back and tell you what it said, but you will, if you are reading the translation, you will recognize this story, I am sure. Vayetze Yaakov מבאר שחווה, וילך חרנה, ויפגע במקום, וילן שם קיבה השמש, ויקח מאבני המקום, וישם מרעשותיו, וישכח במקום ההוא, ויחלום, והנה סולם מוצב ארצה, בראשו מגיע השמיימה, והנה מלאכי אלוהים עולים ויורדים בו. והנה אדוני ניצב עליו, ויאמר אני אדוני אלוהי אברהם אביך ואלוהי יצחק, הארץ אשר אתה שוכב עליך, לך אתננה ולזרעך, והיה זרעך כעפר הארץ, ופרצת ימה וקדמה וצפונה בנהג בה, ונברכו בך כל משפחות האדמה ובזרעך. והנה אנוכי עמך, והנה אנוכי עמך, ושמרתיך בכל אשר תלך, והשיב אותיך אל האדמה הזאת, כי לא אעזבך עד אשר אם עשית את אשר דיברתי לך. ויקח את יעקב משנתו, ויאמר אכן יש אדוני במקום הזה, ואנוכי לא ידעתי. All right, in case you don't have the translation in front of you, Jacob set out from Beersheba and headed towards Harana. And he came to a particular place where he decided to rest for the night because the sun was going down. And he took from the stones of that place and he placed one of them under his head. I always thought that was an odd choice for a pillow, but so be it. And he went to sleep in that place. He lay down to sleep in that place. He dreamt a dream. And behold, in this dream, there was a ladder, the foot of the ladder sitting on the ground, the head of the ladder reaching up into the heavens. And behold, there were angels of the Elohim, of God, God's some kind of, I'll talk about that in a minute, going up and going down on that ladder. And behold, at the top of the ladder, there was God was situated at the top of the ladder and said, I am the Lord your God. I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and God of Isaac. The land upon which you are sleeping right now, this land that you are sleeping upon, and it means the wider land, to you it will be given and to your descendants. And your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth, and they shall spread out to the east and to the west and to the north and to the south. And through you and your descendants, all the families of the earth will be blessed. Behold, I am with you. I am guarding you in everything that you set out to do. I will, and eventually I will bring you back into this land, because I'm, and this is the assurance, I will not abandon you, and I won't leave you until I've made sure, until I've done all of these things that I've promised you. And with that, Jacob woke up from his sleeping, and he said, indeed, in this place, God is in this place, and I didn't know it. I knew it not. So, we're going to talk about that in a minute, but there is clearly blessing and assurance from the divine at the top of the ladder to Jacob tonight. And we turn for blessing right now for some who may need assurance from ailments or troubles of many sorts. We turn to page 253 for our Mi Sheberach prayer. And if there are names that you would lift up as we pray for healing and wholeness on this Shabbat, you can certainly put them in the chat. The names that we have on our Mi Sheberach list tonight are Wendy Alderman, Harav Binyamin Ben Yaakov Bracha, which is Rabbi Benjamin Zober, Joan Brickman, Neil Calder, Megan Carney Cranmer, Laura Cohen, Tali Engel, Stephen Gould, Al Grossman, Marlene Harris, Ken Hecht, Harvey Higdon, Laura Jawad, Richard Lopez, Harav Miriam Bat Shifra Pinchas, which is me, Harav Miriam Yael Chaya Bat Sarah, Rabbi Marsha, Lori Pattison, Judy Ramos, Shirley Rutkovitz, Sarah Bat Chava, Marianne Schenker, Jessica Waditz, Jen Wolf, Paula Wolf, Usher Zalik, Tim Ober, of course, everyone affected by the coronavirus, the names that you have put in the chat, and perhaps names and friends and loved ones that you are holding silently in your hearts, everyone affected by coronavirus, and surely there is a whole world out there in need of our prayers for healing tonight, names we do not know, but we hold them all. And we join in the middle of page 253, Debbie Friedman's Mi Sheberach. Mi Sheberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi Sheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. We turn to page 257 and we'll return the Torah in the Ark. Can I have you back, Nathan? In whatever manner suits you, body or spirit. Rise as we return the Torah to the Ark. You want to hold?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to get shorter for me. Are you almost as tall as your dad?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. And we're in the middle of page 257. Put her back in. Join me in reading. God's Torah is perfect, reviving the soul. God's teaching is sure, making wise the simple. God's precepts are right, delighting the mind. God's mitzvot are clear, giving light to the eyes. God's word is pure, enduring forever. God's judgments are true and altogether just. Eitz Chaim hi l'machazikim ba b'tomechecha me'ushar derachecha tachenam v'chol netivotecha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yamenu Chadesh Yamenu Kikedem. Thank you again, dear. And if you are standing, be seated. So, I suspect that tonight's Torah portion, the Jacob ladder dream, is familiar to many. I also imagine that a lot of you have heard more than one preacher, including this rabbi. I suspect you've heard more than one of us share the particular rabbinic midrash about those angels who are traversing that ladder. First, let me clarify that the word for angels here might just as easily be translated as messengers. This Hebrew word malachim is used often in our Bible with rather ambiguous meaning. So don't get hung up on winged creatures of some sort. Just understand that some manner of divine emissary is going up and down on this ladder in Jacob's dream. And with that, we get back to this midrash that I've mentioned so many a rabbi has shared. The classical rabbis note that it might seem strange that these angels are going up the ladder first and then coming back down. Wouldn't we expect divine emissaries of whatever kind to be lodged heavenward, which would mean that they would start out going down the ladder from above and then go back up? Their opposite directional path tells us, according to rabbinic commentary, that these were angels of Jacob's own making. They started in his head. He is, after all, on the run after having cheated his brother out of his birthright and firstborn blessing. That some matters of conscience might be disturbing his sleep seems more than likely. Maybe these angels are more like Jacob's personal demons, going up from his restless mind, encountering the divine presence atop the ladder, and then coming back down with the message that in spite of his deception, God is still with him. Or so one line of rabbinic commentary suggests. Now, Jacob, you may recall, has a second famous nighttime encounter. A bit later in Genesis, in chapter 32, Jacob wrestles with another ambiguous character that the text identifies simply as a man. Again, whatever manner of being that may be, it seems clear that this is another divine representative. Because when this second encounter is over, Jacob gets the new name Israel, which means one who has wrestled with God. And after that sacred wrestling match, Jacob, whose hip was fractured in the encounter, Jacob then limps away into the rest of the biblical story. Jacob seems to have a bit of a propensity for nighttime spiritual restlessness, which may be why, when thinking about tonight's Torah portion, my mind jumped immediately to this later story as well. Or maybe it's just because I know a little something about limping these days. In any case, when I first thought about these two stories, I was struck by how different, almost opposite, were their endings. In our latter story this Shabbat, Jacob concludes his sleepless night with the realization that surely God is in this place and I did not know it. In the second story, the one with the divine wrestling match, Jacob and his fractured hip just limp away. He's wounded. Very different endings indeed. But then I thought, maybe not dissimilar conclusions at all. And here's why. Let me start this explanation by saying that I have not been a happy camper since breaking my kneecap 2 months ago. Anyone who knows me at all will know that I did not do well with 6 weeks of an immobilizing brace that meant I was stuck on the couch, pretty much unable to do anything but be stuck on the couch. I did a lot of wallowing in self-pity until I rather got tired of my own self, so tired that I had to find some way of wresting meaning from my misfortune. Some of what I came up with: having spent 71 years in incredibly unmitigated good health, I'm pretty sure I'm now a whole lot more empathetic toward others not so healthily fortunate as I was once. And then too, my awareness of the pitfalls that are out there for those who are not 100% physically able is absolutely newly awakened. Just ask me about uneven pavement and heavy doors that don't open automatically and stairs but no ramps and the like. I hope I can take this new awareness and advocate for the differently able. And by the way, even stuck on the couch, did you know that there are ways to work for social justice? A broken kneecap didn't stop me from writing postcards to voters in swing states, urging them to get out and vote, particularly, of course, for the causes and candidates that matter to me. The point of telling you all this is that I am recently again convinced that our job as conscientious human beings, our job is to make meaning out of misfortune. I would go so far as to suggest that it's not just our job, it's our religious obligation. And let me be clear that I am absolutely not saying that bad stuff happens for good reason by some divine plan. That's bulldooky and nonsense that I would never promote. Nor am I opposed to some amount of wallowing in self-pity when bad stuff befalls us. In fact, I think some of that qualifies as appropriate self-care. And furthermore, I fully appreciate that a whole lot of people, no doubt many worshiping here tonight, a lot of people live through much greater misfortune than my broken kneecap. I am healing and will soon be back good as new. Many others are not so blessed, I know. But even with all those qualifiers, I maintain tonight that we simply must find a way to make meaning from the misfortunes that life throws at us. Whether it's emotional and spiritual struggles like those that disturbed Jacob's sleep in tonight's portion, or if it's a physical affliction, more like the one that has Jacob later limping. Whatever the troubles life throws our way, our best course is to find some manner of meaning therein. And if we live any length of time at all, life will throw us curveballs. Can we find the strength of spirit to catch them with meaning? Which brings me back to the two Jacob nighttime tales. I now think their different endings are really of one piece. Jacob limps away, but Jacob also finds God's presence in a place where he never would have expected it. May we find the strength to do just that, to find meaning even within our most doddering, difficult circumstances. Yeh ratzon? May we be helped to do so by some divine energy whose presence we knew not. Shabbat shalom. I would ask you now to turn back to page 253 to a prayer that we do not often do and may not be familiar to many of you. It's called the Birkat HaGomel, and right here it says in our prayer book's Thanksgiving blessing. A Gomel is a person who has made it through some misfortune and is now giving thanks. And so I would offer the Birkat HaGomel prayer tonight for at least 2 Gomels that I know. Rabbi Benjamin, I hope you're out there and you will join me in this, and myself. And there may be others who feel like they've come through some misfortune that they might not have come through and that they are grateful for. And so you will see where it says individual recites. I will say that. Rabbi Benjamin, join me in saying it. Anyone else who feels appropriate will do it in the Hebrew, and it's not Hebrew that's altogether familiar, so we'll go a little slowly on a few of the words, and the English. And then if you out there in Zoom land, and I will just stop and wait and imagine I can hear you, if you will respond with the congregational part. And so we who are Gomlim, Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shegamalnu kol tov. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has bestowed every goodness upon us. Amen. We turn now to the Aleinu on page 283. And I would again just bring to your attention that at the top of 283 is a different version of Aleinu than often we do. Again, whether in body or in spirit, whatever is uplifting for you, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגהור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. On page 285, please read it with me. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. On 287. V'nemar b'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shema And if you were standing, you can be seated. As we turn to page 294 for our Kaddish. Again, if there are names that you are recalling on this Shabbat in memory, feel free, please, to put them in the chat. We recall tonight the recent deaths and the Shiva of Stanley Browdy, the brother of Annette Friedlander, and Lucille Alexander, mother of Ann Smith, and mother, grandmother, great-grandmother to so many. We are on Shloshim, remembering the deaths in the past 30 days for Rabbi Earl A. Grolman and Harav Aharon Ben Tova. And it is the first year of mourning for Betty Williams, Pamela Walker, Barb McBrady, Mary Jane Ludwig, Inga Kaplan, Elizabeth Ruth Rassler, James Cross, Peter A. Alsberg, Eileen Jenkins, Nee Rosenthal, Selma Four, Steve Strauss, Andrew Verratti, Donna Matlis, Charlie Perlman, Rabbi Michael Cook, Sharon Perlman, Mildred Millie Small, Alan Dobro, William Lebovic, Jim Ballantyne, Eli Kane, David Stucker, Terry Gregory, Grayson Corbett, Joan F. Nutkin, and Andrew Venuti. And we mark the yard sites tonight of Myrna Gilbert, Jean Langer, Jenny Leventhal, Francis R. Altman, Ida Finkelstein, Ida Friedman, Marshall A. Kotlicki, Claire Fox Wolpe, Tom Fetkether, Robert Potawils, Irv Jim Dworkin, Great Baba Goodman, Meyer Rosenthal, Andre Beals, Frank Gray, Lilia Montoya, Norman Weiss, Dorothy Beckman, and Louis Shallot. Zichronam livracha, may their memories, the memories of those you have named in the chat, the memories of those that we hold in our hearts, may their memories be for a blessing that inspires us in living lives that are their best memorials. On page 294, if it is your custom, and in the manner that suits you best, we rise for the mourner's kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divarach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kariv v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitaromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitada v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudasha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechamata. Da'amiran ba'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony and peace and comfort on high bring peace and comfort to us, to all who mourn, to all Israel. And together we say, Amen. And if you were standing, please be seated. Turn for a few announcements here. I can figure out where I hid them. Okay, here they are. All right, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Torah study via Zoom, as on most Saturdays. We are in Genesis 29:34. You can find the Zoom meeting ID at SinaiReno.org/Torah study, or I imagine there's a banner, or Deborah is putting in the chat that you can contact Deborah Ochtenberg, and she will give you that Zoom information. Our Torah study on Saturday morning is really quite amazing. It's fun. It's intellectually stimulating. If you've never done it, feel free to join. We're at all kinds of levels and everyone is welcome. So that's tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Sunday, there's Sinai School at 9:30 a.m. And there's a ton of other announcements here. Most of them you can find in the Sinai Bulletin. Lots of things coming up in the weeks ahead. One of the things, Thursday, November 18th, 4:15, Torah for Tots, Hanukkah, and that is in person. All the usual Shabbat gatherings and Torah studies. The one thing I want to lift up on Sunday, November 21st at 7 o'clock p.m., our annual Interfaith Community Thanksgiving service will take place. It will be at Immaculate Conception Catholic Church on McCarran Boulevard in Sparks, and masks will be required. And there's lots of other things, but I think you can check your announcements for all of those. Again, wishing Rabbi Benjamin a healing and Rabbi Sarah some rest from all that she has on her shoulders. And again, thank you, Michael. Oops, I know one other important thing. For our Oneg Shabbat, we will have a Yism'Zoom tonight online, where we can gather and chat with one another by video. Again, SinaiReno.org live, and you can get the details to enter the virtual Oneg Zoom room. It's hard to say. And again, we thank Laura Ashkin and Chris Stanton for co-hosting, as they always do, this week's Yism'Zoom. Laura and Chris, I think you've become our permanent Yism'Zoom hosts. I will try to join you, but I got to go home and get to my computer first. So hopefully you will still be Yism'Zooming when I get there. Let's see. Okay, I think that's it. Let's turn to page 330 for our closing song. Ma yafeh hayom, how lovely is the day. May it be a Shabbat of peace, Shabbat Shalom. It's at the bottom of the page on 330, and then we'll do a kiddush, and then we'll send everyone off into Shabbat. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma yafeh hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And the last thing we will do, get out. I got some fruit of the vine here, non-alcoholic, I would just say, because I'm driving. If you have something with a grape in it near at hand, would like to join in in any case, and you can vicariously use my fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Ki banu v'achata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim and Shabbat Shalom, everybody.